Hi, friends, and welcome to the Dreamer and Doer podcast. I'm your host, Bree Johnson. I designed this space to be a place that we can discuss dreaming big despite the setbacks and fears that come with it. I invite you to come along this journey with me as we embrace our stories and share our journeys. So let's dream big together and get intentional about making it happen. Hey there, welcome back to the Dreamer and Doer podcast. I am so excited to have another Waco local business owner today. So I'd like for you to welcome my friend Maggie. Hey Maggie, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
So why don't you go ahead and tell my listeners a little bit more about yourself and about your business as well.
Yeah, so my name's Maggie, and I've been a business owner now for 5 years. I have a jewelry line called Margrít Co, and it's all made out of recycled glass. Been in business for now 5 years. When I originally started, I was just going to do clothes, and then jewelry kind of stuck, so I stuck with jewelry. I've been married for 6 years. My husband has a huge part of why I'm in business. He's the one who encouraged me to go and do this. I've been in the boutique world for about 4 years as a merchandiser and buyer for a local Texas company here, and just kind of got burned out. And my husband was like, babe, you need to do this and just go for it. I had planned on doing it, but not till like 10 years down the road.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've been a local Waco girl my whole life, basically. I moved here when I was 2, so I have been in Waco since the beginning. But yeah,
when there was nothing.
Right, nothing. And we moved downtown when my husband started at Baylor, and so we were downtown when it was completely dead. And so then got to see the growth grow overnight, and so that was really great. So yeah, no kids. We are dog people. We've got 2 dogs, so they're our babies right now. Yes, yeah. So yeah.
What has it been like seeing Waco grow? It's
really great. I'm excited for Waco, especially since I grew up here, because we used to always say there's nothing to do in Waco. Yeah. But then I think it's growing pains too, because Waco is just not ready for all the growth all the way yet. So it's growing pains, but I'm so excited to see, especially for what it's done for the local entrepreneurs in Waco.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been huge, because when I first started was when it was first becoming a hit for local entrepreneurs. So I've loved seeing the growth of that and meeting so many other businesses through that. So I'm thankful for Waco for that part, for sure.
So your jewelry, I want to ask you about that real quick while I'm thinking about it. Did you always use the materials that you use right now? Or was it like a growing process of figuring out kind of your, I can never say this word, niche? Yeah. I feel like I need a poll. How do you say it?
For sure. I think it's niche. I think
niche?
Niche or niche? I'm not sure. I say niche, so I don't know. No, I started off with I would go to Hobby Lobby and Michael's, looking for beads and stuff like that. So my first collections, I'm super embarrassed to see.
Hey, everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, everybody starts, and I still have a couple pieces that I'm proud of. I'm no, these are mine. I'm never gonna sell them. But I started doing the recycled glass, I want to say 3.5 years ago, and that's what people still remembered when they'd come to my booth. They'd be like, "Oh, where's that recycled glass?" And I really liked it because it was unique. It wasn't something people saw all the time. It wasn't what you saw in fashion magazines. It was different, and people liked that. And so pretty much scrapped all my beads. I gave them to my little entrepreneurs, cousins and my nieces and nephews that wanted to start their deal, and just completely went with the glass about 3 years ago, and it's been growing strong since. So yeah.
So you have, I know, earrings, because
yes,
I noticed a good pair of earrings. What else do you have? Do you do necklaces, bracelets?
Yes, we do necklaces. So when I originally started, I was just doing bangles, and then kind of got into earrings. Bangles were interesting because when I worked at the boutique I did before, women would always complain about the sizes not being right, because when you see a bangle, it's usually a generic size, just one size fits all, which that's really not the case. And so when I first started doing the bangles, I do small, medium, and large. And so that made a lot of my customers happy when that size was customized to their wrist. And so they would come back continually because they wanted to add on to that. But then earrings became popular. And so, yeah, we started doing more earrings. And so I would say now, like, earrings are our main seller, but we do pendants too, and those are pretty popular as well.
Do you still do the bangles and bracelets?
I do the bangles still, but not as much. And the bangles too, I mean, I think it was so funny when I first started. It used to take me forever to do stuff, and now it's like 2-3 minutes. I can get something wrapped up really quick. So I think, like, you know, it's great to do that, but I do enjoy doing the earrings because there's more detail to it. So yeah,
I know. I love your earrings. They're so pretty.
Thanks.
I love them. So tell us. I love following you, and I know a lot of your followers love following you because of your brother.
Yes.
So what is his role in your business?
Yeah. So Matthew was a big surprise to us. I was 11 years old when he was born, and we did not know, we didn't do the testing or anything like that he'd have Down syndrome. And so he just became a huge part of my life, and I kind of became second mom. And he's nonverbal, so he doesn't talk. He does sign, and he has a special iPad that talks for him, or he'll pick what he wants to say. So I usually, in my name for him, he calls me Dot because I have a little mole on my cheeks.
Stop.
Yeah, so I'm
cute.
Dot.
I love that.
But so it's great with him though. With the iPad, he'll tell me like, "Hey, Dot, I want tacos," and so we go get tacos. We went and got tacos yesterday because it was Taco Tuesday. But yeah, so Matthew is just a huge part of my life, and so when I started my company, I kind of wanted Matthew to be a part of it, but just didn't know how because he was nonverbal, so he couldn't work shows because he can't talk to people. But he's a huge helper. He loves helping me load the car, get ready for shows and stuff like that. And then when I started my online site, that's where he came in because we go to the post office. And he has his own fan club at the post office. He blows kisses to the ladies. The ladies know him by name. Like it's this huge ordeal when we go to the post office.
Which post office do you go to?
We go to the Lorena post office. Okay. But we are also known at the Hewitt and sometimes Waco just because he's such a huge flirt.
He's got to go visit all his people.
Yes. And then then with that though, I wanted him to start being a bigger part of the process. And so he started actually wrapping the product, and it kind of helped him have a responsibility because he's now 16. He's going to be 17 next month. And so, I mean, he turned to the age where he could work and do something. And so, yeah, we wanted him to be a part of that, and he loves it. He loves coming over to the office and packing stuff. Sometimes, like, he's begrudgingly over there because he doesn't want to do that. He'd rather do other stuff, like watch movies, and my husband has an Xbox, so he likes to do that. So, but that's his reward afterwards. It's like, hey, we'll go out to eat afterwards, or you can come back and we'll play games. So, I
mean, I would want tacos any day, too.
Right?
So.
I mean, he's my buddy.
He's on it, right?
Any excuse to go get some chips and salsa, I'm all down for it.
I know. I agree. Which leads me into my next question, and kind of what I wanted to talk about with you today is how to maintain your business in transition. So you are moving.
I am. I'm sad.
Crazy. I keep saying, like, I keep making friends and then they keep moving. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, but obviously you have ties here, so you will not be gone and never coming back. But do you have a goal or like plans on how to maintain your business and make that move into like a new market, and how to still include your brother, that sort of thing?
I have plans. I don't know if those are how they're going to go.
Always. But it's still good to have a plan.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, you tell God your plans and he laughs at you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like this transition is huge for Margrít Co. It's going to either make it or break it. And, you know, God willing, it makes it to a new area and stuff. We're moving to College Station. Nathan, my husband, got into grad school there at A&M. So whoop for all those Aggies out there. But I think what I'm super excited about with College Station, Brian, it is very small business oriented. So I think, thankfully, God is putting Margrít Co. in good soil, to say the least, to be rooted there, uprooted, and then be planted in another location. I am having to return back to work full time, which that has not happened in 4.5 years. When I first started Margrít Co, I was working like 4 jobs.
Wow.
And doing shows on the weekend. So, I mean, I don't recommend that. But I mean, I think I'm definitely taking a step back from doing shows and just kind of focusing more online and our brand kind of regrouping there. And so my plan is just kind of let this season of moving and transitioning kind of let ideas float around and then really hit head on starting in January with that. And then with Matthew, I'm going to have to figure something out. We'll have to have our customers who are like, oh, no, it's okay. Like, I really want Matthew to mail my package, so it's okay if it's like 2 weeks later. I mean, I don't know how we're going to work that part out. But yeah, he's a huge part. I'm trying to get him in his own little business. So we'll see. So that way he can start mailing something out on his own. My parents are working on a tea house to help like with special needs kids work there. Wait, and so that's what Matthew's
the tea house.
Yes.
Wait, yeah. Which one is
so it's the Reserve Tea House. Okay. It's coming to you soon. I'm not going to put a date out there because my mom will kill me. But
well,
yeah,
I think y'all were starting it.
We were, yeah.
When I met you at the Buffalo Market in December.
Yes,
I'm like, wait, now I remember this.
Yes.
I got a business card for it.
Yeah. So my mom just had this vision. We actually attended Dave Ramsey's and Christy Wright's boutique business boutique. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh, I want to go there
yes,
so bad.
I so recommend
Kendall, please
it.
let me go.
It's really great. I think it helps you just redefine your business if you already are a business owner and like what you're doing wrong and what you're not doing right or doing right.
I love her podcast.
And yeah, she's great. Christy is great. And we went to the first one. So
wow.
It was very brand new. But it was great. It was very encouraging for me to kind of write stuff down and like, okay, this is what this year is going to look like. And for my mom, it was her vision awakening and, you know, I'm going to do this. And so she's decided she's going to start this tea house where I grew up. It's an old historic home. Mm-hmm. Lorena, who they named the town, actually lived there.
Oh, wow.
In the house. So it was built in the 1860s. But yeah, she wants to start a tea house and Matthew's going to be a big part of that. So, and then eventually down the line, we really want to get kids with disabilities or handicaps to work it. And so that way they have a job and can, you know, also be a great testimony to the customers that come in and stuff.
Goodness,
so.
I might have to get your mom on the podcast.
She'd love it.
Because I think she could, I mean, you know, one of those things where she's a mom, she's raised you guys, obviously still has a younger kid at home, and with disabilities, but here she is like years later still chasing a dream and doing it. So I think that's really cool, like that you're never too old to stop
you can always start
dreaming or doing something. Yeah. So yeah, I would love that. Talk to her, be like, hey,
I'll
come on our podcast. So thus far in your business, what has been your biggest accomplishment?
Oh.
And it can be in life too.
Yeah.
We'll say life or business.
Yeah.
Or both.
I think I would say as far as accomplishment goes, I started my business out when my husband and I were, I think in our 3rd year of marriage. And that was a big turning point for me, especially. There was just a lot of stuff like in high school I had to figure out, and then college, and then when you get married, that just holds a whole nother thing to the mix.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I finally found myself and my self-confidence, like, no, I can do this. And not listening to the lies or comparison. I think that's a huge one that a lot of us, especially as business owners, struggle with on a daily basis. And just like, it's all about the journey, and I think embracing that. And so I think my accomplishment is finally being able to let go of comparison, let go of perfection, and just pursue what God's wanting me to do with my business. And you know, that changes on a daily basis of what that's going to look like. But I think, just trusting has been my hugest one, because that is so hard for me.
And we kind of talked about that Monday, how like personality has changed over
hugely, for sure,
the years too. And maybe not necessarily change, you just kind of realized who you really are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I will definitely say counseling was a huge part of that. I totally recommend having a personal counselor, because I mean, I think that helped me finally find my voice. And what's crazy is I was a psychology major, so you think I'd have it together.
What did you actually do in college?
Yeah, you think I was gonna be an actual counselor, and then God totally was like, nope, you're gonna go sell clothes and be a merchandiser and buyer. And yeah, so
I don't think I've interviewed anyone yet who is doing what they went to college for.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Does that make sense?
Happen.
I'm like, it's so funny because just people I've talked to, they've kind of found what they're, I guess, things that they've always loved or been passionate about. And then not that they necessarily weren't passionate about what they studied, but they were just like, hey, no, this is really what I'm passionate about. But still, I mean, obviously all those decisions we make lead us to other decisions that lead us into this. So it's cool to look back and see how they each got us to where we are.
Exactly.
What has been your favorite thing about owning your business?
I think it's just you can make it what you want it to be. When I'm not going to diss my boss because I loved my boss that I worked for with the boutique world. I mean, they invested so much in me. Brent and Holly Pennington, thank you. I'm like throwing y'all's name out there because, I mean, I had never worked before when I started at this boutique I was at. I was newly married, almost done with college, and they just saw something in me and really invested in me. So I went from sales associate to key holder to then buyer, then manager, and then merchandiser, like all within like 2 years, which is insane. Mm-hmm. But they saw a fire in me and they wanted to invest in that. So like, I mean, I think that's the one thing that with my business is like, you've just got to always have a fire to do it, because if you don't have that fire, then like it's not going to succeed. I think just the freedom to do that and to be me and self, like, I mean, my business is me. And so, I think that's what I enjoy about it is like people who buy from me want to know the story of Matthew and the story of how I started. And, you know, just like I also am invested in my customers' lives. So anytime I see them at a show, I'll be like, hey, how's this going? Or, you know, like I always want to make sure, like, I mean, when I started Margrít Co, it was based off of the pineapple, which was our logo for hospitality and welcoming and friendship. And so that's been my whole process with Margrít Co, is just to make customers feel like it's a relational business. It's not just I like make stuff and you guys buy it. Like it's just, you know, it's a constant relationship.
So where did the name come from?
Oh my gosh. So Maggie is not my real name, which is always a shock to people. They're like, wait, what? So my original name is Mary Margaret.
Okay.
But it was supposed to be Margit. My grandmother is Czech, and my mom and dad did not spell it right.
Oh my gosh! Like on your birth certificate?
On my birth certificate. Too late, you know. But so Margaret is spelled normally Margaret's spelled like the Garet, and mine is spelled Grit. And so when it came to coming up with a name, this was when boutiques were finally like booming, and I mean, trying to come up with something creative and original, and then also make sure that it wasn't going to get taken down the road. Like, oh, sorry, this is already taken. I was like, well, surely Margrét, or is not going to be taken, because that's just unheard of how that's spelled. And I mean, my business was me, and so we decided to do that. My grandmother was very happy because she was like, finally, like, you can use it the right way. And so, yeah, we went with Margaret. And my mom later told me, she was like, it's because you've got grit. That's why we named you that way.
Oh,
and I was
like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it did have some like original like thought and put into it, I guess. So, but yeah, but I go by Maggie. If you call me Mary, you're not going to get a response from me. Like, everybody knows me as Maggie, so when they hear Mary,
see you as a Mary,
yeah, when people see Mary or hear Mary, they're like, "Wait, what?" So yeah, Maggie, like that's my name.
Yeah.
So
okay, so you mentioned having like that fire in your business,
yes,
and which is definitely needed. Like if you lack that kind of passion and fire, then I mean, it's hard to maintain something that you're just not all in. But that doesn't mean there aren't struggles and times where the fire is definitely dull and lacking, where you just have like the embers left. So what's something that you do to get you out of maybe a funk and back into having that fire and passion to keep going.
For sure.
So essentially, what's been a struggle and how do you get out of it?
Yes. So I'm a type A person, and so I love to work. That is just something I love to do. But it does come a time where you do get burned out. Holidays are the worst. Oh my gosh. But you just kind of push through. I always love it because of the community of business owners I know here in Waco. We are all in the same boat when it's like fourth quarter, and it's just insane. We see each other at every show, and we're like, how you doing? Oh, I got a cold. Me too. We're in the same boat. I've got Tylenol, and and I've definitely learned, I want to say this year especially, just I finally have like refocused in my business, and kind of being more intentional versus just going through the daily grind of getting orders in and out, but kind of reinvesting in myself, in my business. Last year I finally, this is what I think kept me sane. I finally decided to really recommit myself to getting back in the gym and getting back in shape. And thankfully my friend was getting married, so I had a goal like, okay, I gotta look good for this wedding. But I'm so thankful that I did that, and that has definitely helped my business, because when I finally get into my office, like, I am ready to work because I've already been awake and have, like, I guess those extra endorphins, because it's like, yay, I worked out, I feel happy now. And that has helped me, and that's time for me, just me. It's not my business, it's not my family, like, that is my personal time to, like, focus on me and my health. And that's been huge. And it also helped because I finally started getting muscles, and setting up for tents and shows was so much easier. Like, I was like, yeah, I got this now.
That's I did a show last night, and I was loading all the bins into the car, and she's like, I don't even think I could lift that up off the ground. I was like, that's why I got to work out, because my clothes are heavy. I'd be able to lift it in the car. A lot of times I do them by myself. So,
oh, for sure.
If anything, that's my motivation.
I think that's the thing I always crack up with when I do set up, because I'm a one-girl show. I don't have employees. Like, it's me. Right. And Matthew, like, literally will just sit on the side of the tent, watch me do it. Like, he's no help. He basically delegates, like, okay, you need to go do that. But, that working out has definitely helped with that part of the business. But, also, like, I think, too, is, like, just this summer, I finally had some downtime, so I've really invested in buying, like, business books. Bree, you and I talked about the Laura Casey's Cultivate. Mm-hmm. Like, that has been so great to read, and really, I mean, listen from a pro who's been at it for a while.
Yeah.
And also know, like, oh, they did the same thing. Like, they have the same struggles as me. Okay, like, they didn't have it all figured out at first. And so I think just finding mentors that have already been through it has been a huge mission for me this coming year, especially with transitioning, and just kind of eat off of whatever they tell me and be like, okay, like, this is good stuff.
I like what you mentioned about reinvesting in yourself, because I don't know, I always think of a quote that I heard not too long ago, but, like, no one else is going to believe in your business as much as you do.
Amen.
And I feel like you definitely have to remind yourself why you believe in it, and keep yourself motivated. It's not easy, and it's really easy to do other things. But I see the greatest return on investment when I invest in myself.
Word.
And you mentioned you'll be doing something this fall as part of your reinvestment, right?
Yes. So, I'm not going to put Nikki on the spot here. But a good friend of ours, I actually have yet to meet her, but I feel like I already know her from Instagram. It's one of those things, like, and it's so crazy. I love how Instagram really connects a lot of business owners. But Nikki Wilson is doing this awesome masterclass for business owners to really kind of reinvest in your business and, kind of figure out where you're going next. And I think that's, like, where Margrít Co is. We're transitioning to a new city, figuring out what that's going to look like, what Margrít Co is going to change into, if it does change into anything different, but just kind of reinvest in myself and my business, because, I mean, that's important. You can't continue your business if you don't put something into it yourself continually. It doesn't, I don't know. I think that's where a lot of people, when they first start businesses, they don't realize how much hard work it is. Like, it's not a hobby. It's not something I just do on the weekends. It's a daily basis. I loved one of her questions she had on the applications. It's like, are you willing to put 10 hours into your business? I'm like, just 10 hours? Like, if I can get down to 10 hours, I'd love that.
Right.
My poor husband, like, I'll be in bed and he can just see my wheels turning in my head. He's like, you're not going to be able to go to sleep yet, are you? And I mean, you know, we'll be there 3 hours later. I'm still talking about stuff and he's just barely awake. But, yeah, I think it's just so important to... It's something that's continuing. It doesn't ever end.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be so good. I sat in her, like, or was a part of the one she did this summer.
Yes.
And it's been really good. I think just being in an environment where you can bounce ideas off with other business owners who just get it, because it feels like it can be really lonely at times. And I mean, I've talked about this before, like the comparison game on Instagram, which... Like, we all know, we're all where it happens. We all know that everyone has the highlight reel and it's not real life. Like, we know it, but it's still really hard to just check yourself and be like, nope, you're still doing a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't always believe or trust. I mean, there's still good things, you know, but
for sure,
it doesn't mean they don't have the struggles too. So
exactly.
I think as a business owner, it can feel really lonely at times, being like, man, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm drowning. I can't get it all done. And then you see other people and you're like, how do they do it? One, a lot of times they have help.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
that's one. But two, like, we know they have the same struggles too.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's nice to be in that environment where, you know, other people are. And hopefully Nikki will be on the podcast soon too.
Yes,
we talked
Nikki.
last night. So we just have to schedule it. Going to wait till kids are in school and all that. So as you started your business, did you have a plan laid out for it, or you just decided?
Oh, I was winging it for a long time. My husband would be like, wait, what do you have that priced as? And I'd tell him, he's like, okay, so did that cover like your cost, your time? And I'm like, wait, what? So that took a while to figure out. And then I started figuring it out as literally from mistake after mistake. I was like, okay, don't do that. And I mean, especially from the beginning, like, I have learned so much from doing shows, because shows are just so unpredictable. Sometimes they're great.
They're never the same.
They're never the same. Yeah. And even if you've gone to that show like 4 times in a row, like, it's always different every single time. So I have learned to think of every possibility that could happen when it comes to weather, customers, or anything like that, and just trying to be 2 steps ahead of everything. But yeah, it's just a learning process, and I think that's the other thing. You have to have grace, like, when you're going into this and you have no idea what you're doing, like,
right.
You have to have grace for yourself, which is so hard for me because I am OCD, perfectionist, type A. Like, it's like I hate making mistakes. But thankfully, like, I mean, my husband's been so great. Like, Maggie, you're doing this for the first time. You shouldn't, you're not supposed to know everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, once I started my website, that was a huge learning curve. Social media, it's always a learning curve, just because
I feel like it changes.
It's changing every day. Like, I think I'm in like what's going on right now, and then they're like, oh no, that was yesterday. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So that's always a challenge, but same thing. Gotta have grace during it all. And yeah, it's a learning process, and just go with the curveballs.
Yeah. So now I'm going to ask you the fun, kind of hard questions. This one is the hardest question for me. And like, it's so sad. It shouldn't be the hardest one, but it is. And that is, what is something unique about you that only you bring to the table? I know, it's hard.
Yeah, that is hard.
Oh, I have to really think about what I like about myself.
Right. I know. It's always funny. Like, when it comes to this, I feel like all women are like this. It's so hard to take compliments or then like brag on yourself. Like, I hate the about page on my website. I absolutely hate that. I'm like, I don't like talking about it. I think, and this is kind of where Margrít Co is based off of. It's not made in China. No, nothing against China. But I think that's the thing, is like every single piece is always going to be different, because like I'm going to be in a different mood that day when I'm wrapping it, or any piece of jewelry really. So it's always just going to be different. None of them are alike. And kind of with that, you don't get that often today, especially like in boutiques and stuff like that. Everything's, massively made. And Kendra Scott's like a huge like idol to me, but like she's still, no matter what, she's in the designing process. And I think that's what I love about my company is like, you're always going to get a piece of me, I guess. And like that piece is made specifically for you. Like, right. I don't know. I guess it's just everything's personal to me when it comes to business, family, friends. Like, it's always personal. So
I like that.
Yeah.
What is something you would tell to someone just starting their dream?
Oh my gosh.
To encourage them?
Don't give up. And also just, like I said before, have grace. Like, for reals, have grace on yourself. And then I think I've started late in the game in some of this, but find mentors who are older than you who have already done it. I think that's huge. I mean, I have tons of friends who are in it with me right now, and it's so great to bounce off ideas with them because, like, you know, we're all in the same bubble, like we're doing the same shows, same storefronts or whatever. And I think sometimes you get wrapped up in that versus someone who's done it and has the wisdom and can tell you what to do or not to do, but then also be super encouraging down the way and not get wrapped in all the nitty gritty, like, politics or details of stuff or whatever. Like, they're not in what you're doing right then and there. They've already done it. And so I'm on the mission to find people like that right now for me, to challenge me, because I think that's the problem when you're with people. They're like, no man, you're doing great, and it's like, am I though? Am I?
I need a little bit of constructive criticism.
So yeah, I would definitely say find people who've already done it, and then, I mean, just basically be a vacuum and take whatever wisdom and like thoughts they give you. And grace for sure, and just don't give up, you know, for sure.
I was listening to one of Christy Wright's podcasts, and they had talked about, for whatever reason, for women, it's harder when they come across an obstacle and they fail, that they like almost always just quit on the first obstacle and quit. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I would always just quit and then move on to the next thing because I thought I was a failure and I couldn't do it. And so for me in this business, it was like, no, just keep going.
Exactly.
Like, take the obstacle, learn from it, but keep going.
She said, I loved what she said, and I think that's the one thing I took out of that entire Business Boutique conference was, if your dreams do not scare you, they're not big enough. And they're not big enough to where God can really challenge you and mold you. And I was just like, I have been playing it safe for too long. Yeah. Okay, like, I was kind of thinking about that in the car today too. I was like, I mean, obviously ups and downs of business. So I'm in the car. I'm like, okay, how do we make this bigger? And thinking about it. And I was like, okay, like I will keep trusting you, God. I'll keep putting in the work and you do the rest kind of thing. Cause at this point it's like, I can only do so much and the things, they scare me, but I definitely have to have that level of trust in him that he's going to come through on like his promise too, that I feel like he gave us with this business. So what's a current book, quote, verse that is encouraging you right now? So I'm in the midst of Laura Casey's Cultivate, which I've been loving. I already read her book, Make It Happen, like 2 weeks ago. So I'm like going through books like crazy right now.
Laura Casey,
fan right now. I've got a lot more. I've got Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face on my to-do list. I'm going to be doing that on our beach trip next week. And my husband and I are refocusing and going to be doing the Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover because with the grad school and everything, that changes a lot of things. So we're going to try and refocus budgeting and all that stuff. I am not a girl about a budget, so that's going to be fun and challenging. But Laura Casey's just been, man, I mean, like I said, she's already been doing this for a while, and I just was like reading through her book Cultivate. It's been so great. I love her analogy of the garden and just all the different aspects of that, like different seasons. And that's like with life too. She even says that too. Like there's summer, winter, spring, and fall. And I still can't figure out what season I'm in right now. Like going into this transition, I'm like, I'm not summer. I'm not planting. Like, where am I? So I feel like right now I'm actually like heading into fall, but in a winter season, because it's like everything's going to be kind of dead and dormant for a while. But I'm excited to see the growth with January coming. But yeah, she talks a lot about, you know, trusting in those seasons. And that's just, I'm a huge control freak. And so having God, like, giving him control is the hardest thing for me. But I keep hearing him, like, give me 6 months. I've got this. Like, you've just got to trust me for 6 months. And with this transition, I stress out like nobody's business. And so every morning I'm like on my knees, like, God, please take this anxiety, please take this stress from me, because I know this isn't you, and it's hindering what I can do for you today. And so, yeah, it's just been good to read a lot. I think it helps you kind of just not focus on your problems, but then also find solutions through what God's using other people's stories to teach you.
Yeah.
So
And we were talking about that on our
yeah
little coffee date the other day,
Yes.
how easy it is to just have like see the wall in front of you,
Absolutely.
but not what's on the other side. And so just pushing through to know that you will get around it or over it, however you do.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is more on the other side of it. And sometimes it's just so easy to only see like what's happening right now and stress about that. But yeah, who is, I guess, in addition to Kendra Scott and Laura Casey, who's someone who inspires you?
Oh man. I'm gonna get personal with my dad. Because I am my father's daughter. He cannot deny me. Just because we look so much alike, but we are so much alike. It's insane. My dad is a orthopedic surgeon. He doesn't do surgery anymore, but he, as far as work ethic goes and just who he is as a person, I respect and admire so much. And I think that's where I get a lot of my drive from. But also how he's going to be 70. He'll be 74 coming up in May, and he's still working. He is not about retiring, and I feel like that's how I'm going to be. But he just always has worked so hard for me and my family and providing for us, and just taking care of us. I mean, and gosh, like 5 years ago, his health started failing him. The year I was getting married, he had 2 heart attacks.
Wow.
And was still working. I mean, so typical doctor move there. Not listening to doctor's advice and stuff. But just whatever obstacle that has come, he has always faced it head on and just worked through it. He is the most truthful person I ever have met, which is sometimes fun and not so fun because he just tells you how it is. But that's through family, friendships, and work. With work, like where he works with doctors who are not being great doctors, and so I mean he tells them right there, like, look man, you're doing something wrong and that's not okay. And so I really value that about him. So I hope one day I can be like him, but also know when to take it easy too, because he hasn't figured that part out yet. But I just I love him to death, and he's a great dad, and so thankful for him.
I love it. All right. What are 3 things you're currently enjoying? I always love this question.
This summer, especially hanging out with my family, because it's not like we're moving too far. It's only an hour and a half, but I think just relishing the time I have with them and really making it meaningful. What's another one? Organizing, man, with this move. Actually, I listened to your podcast on the way over here with Dora, and the minimalism and just trying to, it's just stuff, and so listening to that, I was like, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go through my stuff and figure out what I really need and don't need.
Obviously, you've seen my living room.
We're
pretty
minimalist. It's life. It just empty. Happens. You've got kids too, so that's a whole nother ballgame. My husband would love if we didn't have our dogs, just he's like, we could go travel, we could go do so much, and I'm like, but I love them. So yeah, just I think having time to reevaluate things and stuff has been great for me. I'm okay, there's this personality thing. It's actually by I think Gary Smalley, but it's animal personalities, and I am a beaver. There's beaver, lion, golden retriever, and otter. Yes. It's so great. It's actually a children's book, but it's so great. Talking about the personalities, and I am a beaver lion, which is crazy. But lion's very, leadership, take role, all that stuff. And then I'm also, so beaver is list, organization, stationery, makes me so happy. Those are me. And so, even though it's, a task for my husband to organize stuff, I love doing it. I have reorganized our closet, bought bins and stuff like that. So that stuff makes me happy. My dad will get me organizational stuff for my business, and I get super, super excited just because it's oh my gosh, I can fit so much more into this. When I travel, this is great. So Sterilite, the organizing company, like, I should have stock in them now. Third thing. I have been really trying to, especially since this is my last summer in Waco, like, explore Waco, I guess, from a new eye. Yeah. And checking out, like, the touristy scenes, which is so weird for me because I'm like, this thing has been here forever. But yeah, just kind of having a new eye and appreciating Waco for what it is. Nathan and my husband and I have been doing date night on Wednesday nights, and so we try to go do something different every Wednesday. So we went to Stone Hearth, which is an amazing Indian restaurant. Go check them out. And then, of course, we had to go get ice cream, so we went to Heritage Creamy afterwards.
The best.
Yes. So it's just fun to, like, you know, I mean, places that have been here forever and we just don't go because it's just like we're busy doing everyday life. Yeah. But I guess really appreciating where we've been and where we are. And I'm so excited about College Station because there's going to be so many more places to check out. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the things maybe I've been enjoying lately. Obviously, Waco is new to us, so we've done a lot of exploring and we've had people visit, so we've done a lot of things. But it's something I hope we never lose.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
That want and desire to explore and find new things, or just how to enjoy things that we've already experienced, I guess. But our current favorite thing is hiking at Cameron Park.
Yes.
But a lot of people start at Jacob's Ladder, which is what you
rough.
would know as Cameron Park. And the ladder's fun. But if you start at the softball fields at McLennan County Community College, I can never say that.
Yeah, yes.
Or at the top of Lover's Leaps.
Yes.
There are some really, really good trails.
Lover's Leaps has some good trails. We used to take our dog there, and she loved it. But...
And we took the kids twice last weekend, which my daughter, sweet girl, is like 25 pounds and like maybe 30 inches tall, has the like she's still in 18-month clothes and she's 2.5, but that girl can keep up. Like, she is a beast. And she will hike with us for an hour plus, not even asked to be carried. Our son loves it, and then they sleep really, really good.
Yes.
But it's one of those things, like, even though we've done it several times, it doesn't get old. And then I'm excited because it'll change with the seasons.
Oh, absolutely. I would totally recommend it in the fall. Yeah. It's so pretty in the fall. The triple digits I could, but you're still under shade.
But I was going to say trails, the shade drops the temperature
for sure,
like 20 degrees. It's crazy. Like, you'll be out in the sun, and then as soon as you walk under the trees, you're like, oh,
this is nice.
So we have found our relief from the heat there.
There you go.
But yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing that. And I'll hear people say, like, oh, there's nothing to do in Waco.
I'm
like, you have to get creative and go do it. And then I think it's just a mindset thing too, of just knowing, like, yeah, I've been here, but I'm going to choose to see it in a good way, and I'm going to choose to find something to do. And that was something I feel like I had to do before we got in a place to move, because I would complain, there's nothing to do here, and and then there was a summer that I was like, no, this is going to be the summer of hometown glory.
Exactly.
So I made like a whole bucket list of things to do and try out different restaurants and go to different places, and it definitely helped me see my hometown like in a different light. And then you're more appreciative and enjoy it. And really, it's one of those things too, if you're like, hey, I don't know what to do, like, go out and serve somebody.
Exactly.
There's plenty of people out there who need it too. So that's going to be like our next step of kind of immersing ourselves into Waco, is figuring out how to be more a part of like the community here.
Definitely.
And not just our church community, but beyond that. So which has been our heart and vision all the time, but obviously it takes time to settle in and be make connections and meet people and get just a footing for where we live now, because some days it still feels like it's not home, I guess.
Right.
Like, it does feel like home. Yeah. So like when I go home to our home, I'm like, I don't even know what to call it. I'm air quoting right now. Home. It doesn't feel like home anymore either. Right. So it's like, obviously Waco's where we live now. My license says I live in Waco, and
I'm not ready to do that part yet. I'm sure
it just doesn't. I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know. Mindset. It just, you're like, I'm driving around. I think yesterday or just this past week, it's starting to hit me that like I can drive somewhere and not need to use my GPS, and people can say a street name and I know where it is, and that sort of thing.
I know, I'm so not looking forward to that in the fall. Probably gonna be using a lot of gas.
I know. Well, really, the first week we moved here, I would just drive, and I would turn my GPS off, and I would drive and drive.
You'd figure
with
it
the
out
kids and
eventually.
figure it out. And I figured out that Waco has no block system, that streets go in circles.
Exactly.
And you think you're going one direction, and then you end up on the complete other side of town.
Oh,
so
for sure.
that was fun, but now I feel like
you got it.
Here, we're in Waco. I can figure out where to go. Definitely a transition, but totally worth it. And I didn't realize I did not realize College Station is only an hour and a half away.
Yes, I think that's been the biggest blessing with that. And I kind of feel bad, my poor husband. I'm sorry, Nathan, but I was praying super hard it would be in Texas. This was our second round for grad applications, and so last year we heard back, all of them were no's, and then he was going to reapply again. And my husband, he was military, so he's all about moving. Like, he has no problem going from place to place. He did a tour in Iraq, so, like, I mean, traveling's just normal to him, and moving's normal. And me, it's like, no, I lived in Waco for, 20 plus years, so no, like, I don't. And when I have moved, it's only for a semester or only for 9 months, and that Waco's always back home. And so he was looking in California, Washington, New York, New Jersey, and I was just like, wait, what? No.
Too far
away, especially with Matthew. Like, my heart kept just, breaking every application that was going out. I'm like, oh, God, please don't take me that far. And then all of a sudden, he just was like, well, I applied to Texas A&M, and I'm like, wait, what? You applied where? And so, through my life group, I was asking him, I'm like, here's our choices, but please pray, that one, it's where God wants us, and if that means we got to move out of state, okay, God, we're moving out of state. Like, there's something you've got going for us there. But as the doors started closing, each admittance letter or, not getting in letter came in, and A&M kept getting closer and closer. I was like, oh God, are you for reals right now? If you are, this would be really great, but please don't, do this to me if that's not it. But A&M actually ended up being the one that fully funded, which we've been praying for, nobody's business, just because grad school wasn't going to happen if it didn't, and it did. And oh my gosh, when my husband called me to tell me that he got in, I was really trying hard to be because I knew he had other choices he really wanted, but that, he was still really excited about this too. But I had a hard time containing myself on the phone. But, my mom was there, and she was cracking up because I'm jumping up and down, laughing and crying quietly, so he doesn't realize, how happy I am.
You're, trying not to influence his decision
exactly,
if he chooses something else.
Exactly. And, oh, my gosh, what a blessing it was. And my sister's there, which is great. A lot of my friends actually moved down there, so I'm happy to, reconnect with those friendships. But also just the fact it's only an hour and a half away. I can see Matthew when I need to. If, God forbid, there's ever an emergency or something like that too, we're not too far down the road. And still can come to Waco and do some shows. I have some possibly on the calendar, so fingers crossed there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited for this move. I'm excited for what God's going to do during this, and grow us in so many ways, business-wise and family-wise. Yeah. So, for sure.
Well, speaking from someone who just did it.
Yes, you did it. I really need to take notes from you.
It is really hard.
Yes.
And there's lots of different stages to it, like the honeymoon stage. Absolutely. And then it kind of wears off. And then you're like, what'd I do? Did I make a mistake?
Right.
kind of things. But it's really been worth it. And just having that kind of fresh opportunity and meeting people and that sort of thing, it's just been totally worth it and so fun. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So as you're doing this journey, where can we find you on social media?
So social media, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Margrít Co, Margrit. Just think Mar and then grit, and then Co. Website wise, it's www.margritco.com, and you can buy from us there. And yeah, we'd love to get a piece of our jewelry to you so you can love and enjoy it as much as we love and enjoy making it. I always say we because it's me and Matthew, we're just the team. But it's really me, but I always just say we. But yeah, we'd love to get you connected up with us, and thank you, Bree, for having me on here. This was so fun.
I love it. I'm so glad I got to have you today. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and I can't wait to hear what you think about my conversation with Maggie. Until next week.